Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Season 1, Episode 6 of Sweet Magnolias titled All Best Intentions. So, the spa is up and running. And, yeah. Cal comes to visit and basically asks Maddie out on a proper date. And she says she'll get back to him, as she did promise Tyler that she would talk to him and, go to tell him. Meanwhile, Tyler's avoiding Annie because of the kiss. Fair enough, I guess. And everyone at school is kind of talking about Annie a little bit. And they're also talking about Cal and Maddie. Tyler lets himself get rage baited by Jackson, but luckily his friend Gabe is there and, holds him back. He gets called in to speak with Cal, who basically, has his own version of a conversation. So Maddie tells Tyler, and, he took it badly. I guess fair enough, with the problems he's having at home, baseball is probably an escape, and now his home life is coming to his escape. Cal tries to give Tyler advice about, his father, and, he doesn't really take it that well. I do kind of love that they kind of be seeming to flip-flop on which teenager gets to be a pissy teenager each episode. It kind of fits better if the character they choose to be the drama maker, i.e. the pissy character, is a teenager. Except Dana Sue, that's just seemingly her character. Anyway, so Jackson gets a hold of Tyler's phone and sends Annie's voice message to the entire team. Annie's friend Simon is also on the team, so he gets the text and warns Annie. Annie thinks it was sent by Tyler, and she's pissed off. Tyler, I guess, trying to, put the Annie thing behind him, starts seeing Cece. Also, Cal, as the history teacher, has to, do mock trials and whatever, and gets Helen to help him. And she kind of sees potential in Cece, but she ends up dropping it for some reason. Noreen has kind of like a baby scare, but luckily, Eric's there. He seemed to have a PTSD moment, and I'm wondering if it has to do with his wife. Maybe she was, I don't know. It's spring. They're giving us sprinkles about Eric. Also, I love that this show doesn't make the side characters feel like side characters. Like, I'm pretty sure at this point in time, Eric and Isaac are like recurring characters, but they don't really feel it. They feel like they're main characters in their own right, just not very often on screen. Same with the other people like Peggy and Mary Vaughn. They all feel like characters. Eric ends up going to this support group for PTSD. Meanwhile, the Bill and Noreen end up springing on the kids that they want them to be in the wedding. And Katie and Kyle are somewhat excited. Tyler's not. Although the thing is, I kind of feel like Kyle's excitement stems from the fact he's going to be getting to do something that he likes. He's going to be singing. And Katie is a kid, and she gets to wear a dress. She's happy. Tyler was asked to be the best man at his father's wedding so he can marry the chick who he cheated on his mom with for. Now, granted, later in this episode, Cal ends up working with Eric to make a nice romantic dinner for Maddie, but it's kind of ruined when she gets a call from I think either one of the kids or Bill that he's bringing him home because, they didn't really want to stay in the same roof after that bomb. He does admit that he erred in bringing it, as after Maddie points out that they don't even have divorce papers yet. I was right. They're not fully divorced yet. And they're springing the marriage. She has a nice talk with Tyler, basically stating that you don't have to do anything because of me. You can be in it if you want to, or don't be in it if you don't want to. Just don't choose because of me. I loved that scene. Yeah. It ends, we have a final scene with, Noreen kind of being mad that Tyler spoiled it, and I'm just like, he didn't really spoil it. It's just, you threw it at him like a bomb and said and didn't even say duck. You just chucked the grenade and didn't even say duck. So the final bit of the episode is Isaac asking Eric if Dana Sue's numbers were good for her blood sugar or whatever. And when he says, how am I supposed to know? Isaac reveals that he knew he was an EMT, which I guess where the PTSD comes from, and his knowledge about what happened to Dana Sue and now Noreen. Eric drags him out and forces Isaac to tell him. And Isaac reveals that he's trying to find his father, and he was adopted, and he had thought Eric could be him. Eric reveals that he doesn't have any children, leaves it at that, and leaves. I loved that I loved this scene because it was the first time we saw Eric not be calm, or not calm. We saw him be kind of worried, and it was a different depth than what we've seen from him. We've seen him, kind of panicky earlier in this episode. We've seen him crying, but this is the first time we've seen him angry, and I loved that. I'm gonna give this. I'm thinking we're gonna see some more drama between Annie and Ty. Where we go from there is, I don't know. Maybe by the end of the season, they're gonna have Cal and Maddie are gonna have a redo date. They keep trying to push they're still kind of pushing the will they, won't they, with Eric and Helen, but it seems more really one-sided on Eric's part, and even then, I don't know. I think for now, Helen is securely with Ryan, though, so, yeah. I'm gonna give this episode an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next video.